hi, hello. It's AnimGems, and with me is
Silly Sandy AJ.
and
And
today
Keith.
and today topic will be
Women in video games.
yes, what female characters you like.
I my oh my gosh, my favorite ones. If I'm going to say for my absolute favorite, I would probably say Nilin and Remember Me. I think that she was a total badass, and she's one of the few game characters I actually wanted to play the entire game all the way through. I also like Laura Croft and Mai Shiranui, Tifa.
I
Those are
really
my favorites.
I really love Kate Walker from Siberia because she's also badass. I really like her. And I like Max Caulfield from Life is Strange because I
Yeah,
really
she's fun too.
relate to her.
Have you played all of them? All the ones with
Yes,
her in it? I think I played the first one and I played the prequel, but I haven't played the other newer games. I'm behind on the last two games.
the best
So I don't
is
know what's going on.
the best is last one, but the previous the last one is like because they suddenly started to make another Avengers from that game.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they are keeping the comic book series of Life is Strange canon because the comics book series had an entirely different arc that was never covered in the games, but was an official sequel to the original game, but not many people know about it.
I am
It involved where you actually get to go back in time and actually get to have Max and Chloe both interacting with Rachel.
in the games they didn't that. And to be honest, I'm also really hoping that I don't know how we got the franchise because I heard that the game that come out this year will be last, and I don't know if it's true.
You never know if there's going to be the end or not because we thought that the original game was going to be the last one. Then they had a second one. Then they had a third one. Then they had a fourth one. Now they have a fifth one, and they don't even count miss the prequel one. So we don't know. I think they're going to keep going, having that series go forever.
Yeah, I also like Lara Croft, but I don't like the last game they did, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because she was so contradicting. She was sad she's doing bad, but then she didn't have problem to shoot to people.
I have that one, but I haven't played that one. I know I played the first two of the remake, but I'm so old school that I remember playing the very first Tomb Raider back when it was first on PlayStation 1, I think it was.
I have remasters, but I'm scared they will be too hard for me.
It's so hard. They're all, but the remastered trilogy actually does make the controls a lot easier than it was back in the old days. So you have a lot more responsive controls. You guys are lucky with the newer ones. I
Uh,
was actually able to progress further than I did in the real game.
Okay, by the way, I also really liked Amanda Ripley in the Alien Isolation. She was also cool.
In which one?
Alien Isolation, Amanda
Oh,
Ripley.
isolate. Oh wow, boy, that one scared me. I got chicken on that one. All I had to do was see the alien one time, and I stopped playing. I had the same action when I played Silent Hill for the first time too. So I'm a chicken.
Yeah, I was also very terrified because every step the alien could eat you, and even safe points aren't safe.
Wow. And I thought Resident Evil was scary with when I played as Claire or as Jill Valentine. It was I was always looking over my shoulder in those games.
Yeah, but anyway, new Resident Evil have female character, the Requiem, and to be honest, I don't like her because she's so over panicking, like, and she's so clumsy. She can run and fall on floor.
Hmm. I guess they had to weaken her somehow because they can't have her be a total badass.
Yeah, but I really relate to Rose in TLC Village.
Okay.
I like
See,
it.
I haven't. I think Requiem is the only Resident Evil one that I don't have. I think I had last one I had was Village. I think, and even that I was too chicken to play. I
Yeah,
have so, I have so many scary games, but I'm too chicken to play them.
it's why I, for example, prefer watching other people playing and not me. Like, they don't scare it when they play. I have some YouTubers that play horrors and they're like super calm, never scared.
That would not be me. I'll stick to my hack and slash games, like or beat 'em up games. Like I'm always playing Dynasty Warriors, where I get to play as Sunshine Jang and kicking people upside the head with chakrams, or playing fighting games like Street Fighter or King of Fighters.
I really liked some female characters in Tekken, like for example one Polish is now character in Tekken.
I, I used to like playing as Jan in Tekken, but I also like playing as a Asuka and a Lily. I think they started around like Tekken 4, and I've been playing with them ever since. Yeah, Tekken 4 or Tekken 5. I think it's Tekken 4. I could
But
be wrong.
better way about the beaten up games, I really love River City Girls.
Yeah, those are good old school brawlers where you just get to beat the crap out of people and then just be a delinquent while you're at it.
And the characters are funny.
And they're brightly animated too. They're just they have a lot of life into them. That's one thing that I've noticed that a lot of game companies seem to do wrong is they put so much effort into making the girl either um highly masculine or highly attractive, but they forget to just make the girl fun and interesting. So it's kind of hard to find developers who actually put personality into the style of the character anymore.
I totally agree because I have that problem that a lot of characters looks and acts like men. Like for example, is the Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. She have face and hairstyle female, but she's acting and body have like men.
Hmm. And she's she's considered more of a masculine type more so than a feminine. And as far as I saw when I played it, I didn't really see much of an opportunity to showcase any of her female traits. But maybe that's because I didn't play it that long. But it didn't hold my attention as much as most of the other Greek games I played.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't like. And on the other hand, I also don't like when the female characters are over sexual. Like, for example, a lot characters, like, people a lot love characters like Eve in Stellar Blade, and maybe gameplay is good, but I feel like a lot of people buy these games because to look at back of female protagonists.
Well, I'm not going to deny that, but in my case, the reason I bought it was because I love being able to play a game where I get to play as a badass girl who looks cool. I didn't care if she looks hot. Well, that might be a tiny factor in it, but the fact that I can actually play as a girl who doesn't look butt ugly and can kick butt is was a big appeal to me. Because when you're playing a fantasy game like that, often you're putting yourself into the role of that character, and you don't want to have a butt ugly character looking at you that's supposed to represent you in the game. You want the best version of yourself that you want it to be. So I play pretty girls because I want to look. I want to play pretty girls. I want to be represented in the game as a pretty girl. So I stick with that.
Yeah, but you know what I had in all the games RPG Fantasy? When the armor is like bikini.
Yeah, sometimes they do get overboard with the clothing. You can just look at any of the Dead or Alive girls and see how they go from way out there. But on the other hand, Dead or Alive has one of the better fighting engines that's out there. So you're getting a decent, really good fighting game with a lot of eye candy. So it's like a you win some, you lose some. You can't have it both ways type of thing.
But you know what is the worst? You know what was my first introduction to Dead or Alive franchise?
Which
The
one?
the
Ninja Gaiden?
the spin-off about the beach vacation.
Oh gosh, that is a terrible way to be introduced to the series. Oh no. That game is 100% fan service. That when you I actually have it, but my Xbox 360 wouldn't play it because it was an Xbox One game. But I know exactly what you mean. But if you are looking for a dating sim, that's your alley. That's where the eye candy is. That's where the gooning is. That's specially designed for that audience. But if you want a game that's focusing on the fighting and characters interacting with each other while kicking each other's butts, that's what the mainline series is for.
Maybe I try, but like I said, after seeing first game like this, I felt like nope, not for me.
Now, if you wanted something that's risque and a fighting game that's even crazier than Dead or Alive, try looking at Rumble Roses. Okay,
And
Rumble Roses went even more over the top than Dead or Alive. You're playing as female wrestlers, and you intentionally have hold positions that look arrow. Okay,
wow, I love games like Yakuza because they're crazy and good story. So maybe I try this, the game you told me.
you might want to be careful with Rumble Roses. I'm telling you, it's not for if you are easily disturbed by sexual things in video games. That game would definitely push some buttons. That game and Gal Fighter were definitely on the raunchy side when it comes to female protagonists. And if I'm telling you that it's even worse than Dead or Alive, you can imagine how bad it can be. Okay.
Yeah, I also feel like a lot men like the Bayonetta for that stuff.
It's more Lego, isn't it? Bionica? I think it's something
Bayonetta,
else.
Bayonetta, the like witch who have dresses from hair that is like kinda devil may cry but female. Bayonetta. Nintendo.
Oh, Bayonetta.
Yes.
Oh, it's a Bayonetta. Okay, that's a different story. Yeah, Bayonetta, decent hack and slash, decent platformer. You could definitely tell they were definitely going for the fan service on that. There's no denying that. But she still held her own as it is as a action lead of a game. So I can't give her that. And plus, her hair is much better than mine, so I'm so envious of her hair. To have that much control over her hair to use it as a weapon, she's just like Shantae, okay? Shantae has used her hair as a weapon too, okay?
And and Rapunzel from Tangled, she also was using her as a weapon.
Yep, she has the guns as a weapon, I think, in that one too.
Eh. By the way,
But I think
I'm
a lot
sorry.
of people.
Go on to first.
I think my first time knowingly playing as a female in a game, it was actually a what was it? Was it? I think it was a Carmen Sandiego game. I think. Well, you really didn't know what your character was in the World of Word Time is Carmen Sandiego games, but I imagined myself as a female. So I was there trying to catch coffee, trying to solve the cases and locate where Carmen Sandiego and her thugs were. And she, even though she was the villain, she was the main star of the game. And not many people know this, but she shows up after you solve 200 cases. I think it's 200 cases. That's when you have a chance to catch Carmen Sandiego in those games.
Yeah, my first was Siberia Definitive. And I'm sorry if I say something controversial, but you know what I also hate? When there is franchise with female characters. I hate when they suddenly in last game change her sexuality. Like she had boyfriend or fiance and suddenly she like girls. I hate
Yeah, I
that.
hate when they do that. Yeah, that made no sense sometimes. Like I know, like there's a big controversy with Bayonetta recently, where a lot of people were upset that Bayonetta had a husband and kid, even though that was the canon story. But there's also times where they actually change the sexuality of a character entirely, which changes the entire motivation of the character throughout the entire series. Like, why did you change that? Why did you change that dynamic of that person so that the effect they have on the story now is totally different than what was originally intended? Like, why? You didn't have to do that.
Yeah, like I can give you examples. Kate Walker from Siberia. They changed her sexuality even if she had in first game fiance. Now in the last game, fourth game, she have girlfriend that she want kinda grant her last wish because her girlfriend died in prologue of the game. And I'm like, that's why. Or the Aloy in Horizon. She also
Mm-hmm.
have no interest in romance at all, but then suddenly they give her girlfriend.
Yeah, I did. Was that the second game? Because I never I
Yes,
played the first one, but I didn't understand what was going on with the second game. When I read the comic book, I didn't understand what was going on. Like, who are these people? Why are they bringing them in? Why are they so important?
yes, in the second game. And I remember that people were also upset. And they also wanted to give girlfriend to Lara Croft in F games.
Yeah, they if they mess with Laura Croft's case, then they're really messing things up. And also, I remember even back in the original Life is Strange, you saw that say that Max had a thing for the guy who was the guy friend, but then based off your choices, it will determine if you stick with him or if you're going for Chloe. And a lot of people are, a lot of the story seems to be rotating all about only on Chloe. Like, okay, but she had a relationship with this guy, so are you saying she's both ways, no ways, which ways? And then I don't know what was going on anymore.
Yeah, and the worst is, last two games that come out, they also force you to be into girls. Like you can flirt and dating bartender, female, or again Chloe, and they don't give you any boys to dating, only girls. And I'm
And
like,
sometimes
and I'm like, why? Why you don't give me options?
I noticed also when I played um was it Fire Emblem Three Houses? I didn't see any mention of any of the girls having a romantic interest when my character was a girl at all. They just showed like, okay, we're good friends, we're great friends. Then all of a sudden, near the end, they give me an option to give a ring to female characters that I didn't know were even on the table. Like, why is Dorothea an option when I wasn't talking to her like a friend, like that? Or we were supposed to be best buddies. That's what we were aiming for. But then you're saying I could make her my wife? Like, what? What's that?
Yeah,
We were aiming for. And the only reason I know about that ending was because my chat voted for which person I was going to give the ring to. I was going to go for Yuri because I had the hots for Yuri, okay? I was leaning towards him the whole time. And then all of a sudden they say, okay, Dorothea or Mercedes. Like, what the hell? And I've never forgiven them. I've never forgiven them for not letting me choose Yuki. So I'm still upset about that. That still makes me angry.
yeah, I totally feel you. And I also don't like that they doing this only also for boys who play the game, because for some weird reason I notice a lot male likes when there is this yaoi genre in anime and games, like two girls kissing each other, and I'm just like, why? I don't feel it.
Yeah, why shove it in our faces? We don't need all that. Um, a girl could be a powerful character without needing to add the weird fetishes into the story. It just didn't need to be. And I'm willing to bet in the world of Tekken, there's probably people who are shipping Asuka and Lily, even though canonically those two are bitter rivals, want to beat the living crap out of each other. I'm sure there's communities that are trying to ship them together as a couple. Like, come on.
Yeah, another thing that I didn't like is that in some horrors, when there is female protagonist, she need to have problems about wedding or about being pregnant. A good example, the newest Silent Hill, whole stories about teenager girl who don't want get married, and whole horror around that. Why we can't have normal horror themes? Why we have to do about getting married or about pregnant, like Silent Hill 3?
I'm willing to bet to the people who made that game, those concepts are scary to them. Those going into those constructs is a horror story for them. That's probably why they put it in there because they don't know what it's like to engage in a normal situation like that, or they're pushing their agenda into the game so much that anything that's considered traditional or conservative, not in a political stance, but in what people used to stance, or any whiff of anything of a conservative nature is automatically shunned, no matter how many generations have already done it aeons before.
Yeah, I agree about that. Another thing, what do you think about situation when game franchise is about men and then suddenly they do spin-off about female?
I actually despise that. Even though I love having more games where I can play as female, if it's having the female take the place of a male and it's not considered a spinoff that has its own story and own arc, then I don't want it. Like the Uncharted series. I did not buy the fourth game because it did not have Nathan Drake. Why would you want me to buy an Uncharted game that doesn't have Nathan Drake as the main protagonist? I didn't buy it. Why would I want The Last of Us if they don't have Joel? I'm not buying any more of those. No.
Yeah, and for me was also kinda worried what they did with Hades. Like Hades first phase of the game was the boy and now princess.
Ugh, I don't even get that. Why?
And now also people hate God of War, what they did.
Now, God of War is a different situation, I think, because it's they said they're making another God of War game as well that's still following the Kratos storyline. So the Laufey is I consider a spin-off game so that it's actually not diverting from the main storyline, but it's a side game. And since they're making that as its own thing with its own story that's not stealing away from the plots from the original games, I think that one should be okay because he's not being replaced. They're just telling another part of the story from a different angle.
I hope because the next game after that is just a remaster or remake of the first game. So I don't know if I can count as new game.
Well, also think about this: the Hyrule Warriors games. First two Hyrule Warriors games, you have Link as the lead protagonist. The third Hyrule Warriors game has Zelda as the main protagonist. Now, canonically, canonically wise, you want to know what's going on with Link, but apparently, this storyline happens in a different timeline than what everything else is going on. So it has its own linear storyline that's divulged from the events where Link is in charge of. So you could say that she took over the franchise, but you could also say she's doing her own thing in an entirely different time frame. And that honestly, that's probably the best thing because they're basing that game off of her um, game, not Tears of the Kingdom. The other game that was after Tears of the Kingdom, the one where she actually did the magic building and stuff.
Breath,
They're basing off
Breath of the Wild.
not Breath of the Wild, the one that came after the Tears of the Kingdom, the one that focused only on Zelda and her
Oh, I
ability to make magic stuff.
oh, it's the Echoes of the Wisdom.
Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom. That Hyrule Warriors game was based off of that game and not the Breath of the Wild games. So that's why I say that's a good diversion. That's considered more of a spinoff than the other ones. So she wasn't taking over the series. That game was adapting her storyline into a Warriors-based format.
I really love the Echoes of the Past because it was the first good Zelda game. The before there was kinda trashy for the CD play, something like that. No, something like that. There was console that connected to TV and they did that very bad. It was activity player with games. that games was bad. So I'm really happy for Echoes of the Wisdom.
And it could have come much, much worse because you remember what happened when Princess Peach had her original first game.
Yes,
Not the one that, not the one on Switch 2. I'm talking about the one they had on DS, where it was just a pretty princess platformer puzzle game, and it demeaned everything about her character. It was such a bad game that they did not try again for 2 decades before having Princess Peach in her own game ever again.
yeah, better way. I know it's weird, but when come out the Princess Peach Showtime, I had in myself conflict because I really enjoyed that game, but also I felt like I shouldn't enjoy because it was direct to small girls with these cute pink dresses and only about that was abilities. Like it was good game, but I felt like aim little girls.
Yeah, they turned it into a girly girl game instead of actually letting her stand as her own platforming star. They just focus on making her a pretty princess style gameplay. That's what the problem is. Most game developers have is that they think when they think making a game for a female character, it has to be girly girl, and no, that's not the case. There, girls can actually play games just as dynamic as guys. Like with Remember Me, it was about a freedom fighter who goes into Neo Paris and rips the memories out of bad guys. That was an action platform with a really good combat system, and it's one game that I have not seen a sequel to, have not seen a remake of or re-release of, and I've never seen anyone repeat that system ever again. And ironically, most people don't know that was the very first game created by the same people who made Life is Strange. Remember Me was their very first game.
Yeah, also, you know what? Also about I don't like about girly games is that most of them are like for 5 years old cutie or they are about horses or about farming and nothing
Or
like
animals.
yeah.
Everything cozy, cozy, cozy. That's what they're aiming for. Girls only like cozy, cozy games. No, we like kicking ass too.
Yes, and you know what? I was annoyed this year. There was Steam event sale for the International Women's Day, and you know what was mainly games on the sale?
Cutesy, cutesy, girly, girly games, I'm sure.
Cutie or visual novels or horrors.
So we couldn't have a beat 'em up, we couldn't have a brawler, we couldn't have a first person shooter, we couldn't have skull girls. Come on, skull girls or gal fighters or something. There's there's plenty of games that have female characters throughout the games that either have them as a main cast or a big portion of the cast that could have met that qualification. And most of the time when I look at Steam, many of the tags I look for is does this game has a female protagonist? If it does, that's automatically a plus point for me. But it's not a I have to buy it because of that, because otherwise I would never have bought Shadow of Mordor. Yes, I played as a guy through the whole game until I learned I could get a skin later on. But for the most part, I willingly played a game where I played as a burly guy kicking ass. And I'm a girl doing that. So yes, we like games of all types. We don't need just girly games.
Yeah, you know what else was sad about these girly games? That a lot of time in the 90s, a lot of game studios felt like they had to do games only for boys because girls won't buy. And then they started do Barbie games.
Yeah, back when I grew up, most of the games that we had for girls were either shovelware Wii games, or where they were games that were um, romance games. That's actually how I got into otome games, because most of the games on there were about romance stories and visual novels about does he love me, does he love me? Or most of the times we didn't even get the girl version of romance novels, we got the guy version. So I'm playing as a guy trying to woo girls, but it took me forever to get games where I could be a girl trying to woo the guys. So I'm happy that there's a resurgence in otome games, and if you're watching Cody Tecmo, I still want to play the Court of the Oro in English, please. I'm tired of having it translated live while I'm playing. Please release it in America. I want to play it so much.
I only played one otome game. In general, I like the fun otome games, but my favorite, the one that I played, it was Date with a Dead, because it was so unique that you're dating Grim Reaper.
I've seen one dating sim where you get to date dead people or monsters. You have to boo the monster so they won't kill you.
Well,
I think it's Homicide, I think it was called. Definitely a weird one.
I had a lady in my library dating sim of helicopters and tanks.
That's a little weird even for me. That
Yeah,
goes beyond my weird meter.
yeah. Also, about these female games for female, you know what news lately annoyed me? Do you remember the game Mixtape that recently come out?
Can you actually call that a game?
Mixtape.
Seriously? Can
Uh,
you literally call that a game? I think it's like a full game of nothing but cutscenes that you only have like one or two buttons and you control the whole game.
I don't know, but you know what one journalist said about this game? It's perfect for girls because it's easy and not hard game, and girls prefer
Oh
easy
God.
games.
Oh, you kidding me? Well, of course it's easy because there's no gameplay. I've seen people actually play that game, and they actually have like a 5 to 10 minute scene where they're supposed to be navigating a skateboard through a neighborhood, and the whole time the player has their hands free of the gamepad, and it's just the game is automatically dodging obstacles for them. There is literally no gameplay for them to interact with. You can't have an interactive story if you're not letting your player interact with the game.
Yeah, better way. I played that game, and you know what? Even more annoyed me that gameplay. Annoyed me that when I was teenager, I wasn't like this hooligan drinking. Like I never was. I
Yeah,
can't relate.
I'm a kid of the night. I'm a kid who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and of all the stuff I saw in that game, it's not like the way life was back then. We didn't do half the crap that they were doing in that stuff. If we messed with half the stuff that they were doing in there and got caught, we got home to a whooping. We weren't protected by child service or anything. If we screwed up, we got our ass handed to us. Literally, we had to go outside, pick out a switch from a tree, and say, "Here's the switch." Then we got whipped by that switch. Okay, we didn't. We weren't as dumb as those players were. Okay.
Yeah, and you know what was? I am the same. And the worst is that a lot of people who review and give that game 10 out of 10. They think, I so relate. I did the same thing as teenager, and I was like this John Travolta, confused, like, what? I didn't was like that. I'm worried because I didn't get that.
Yeah, I think those people who are giving high praise for that game, one, they don't know how to play games because they would have realized that the play control of that game was very, very minimal and it's at child level or less. In fact, the person who was giving it the highest praise was the same journalist who sucked at getting past the tutorial of Cuphead. Okay? Even I, as bad as a game player as I am, managed to get past the Cuphead tutorial. Okay? If I can do it, and a major game journalist who's getting paid much more money than me can't do that simple thing, and it's supposed to be considered a gaming information source, how the heck am I supposed to trust someone's opinion who can't even play a simple game like that? Okay? He couldn't handle a basic jump over a obstacle by following the directions on the screen. And then he's saying mixtape was a 10 out of 10 and such an immersive experience. That's because he didn't have a challenge. Okay? I don't trust people like that. I don't trust them. And I don't trust them overly glazing a game that's supposed to be great when it really wasn't. Same thing with Dragon Age. I adore the Dragon Age series, okay? I've been playing Origins, I've played the second one, I've played Inquisition, I've been collecting the comics, the books, but I am not touching Inquisition with a 10-foot pole because every time I look at that game, I'm seeing something that's grossing me out, storyline wise, plot wise, and even design wise. Like, ooh, these designs suck. What happened to the original artists from the original series? Like, what the heck? Who are these people? Why do they look so bad? They took, I don't know. It's just I'm looking for quality like what they left off with Inquisition at least. Okay, I'm looking for a step up from that. These graphics in Inquisition looks like they were from a free to play mobile game. Okay, this is not quality that's qualified for a Dragon Age franchise.
Did
It
you know?
doesn't. It didn't.
Did you
Hmm?
notice that a lot of games nowadays starting to look like that cartoony Disney style after success of Fortnite? Like Horizon, new upcoming game is cartoony. The World of Warcraft started be cartoon cozy.
They are really sucking in that department because they're squeezing out all of the talent that actually has good art style, good art sense, and they're trying to pay for these cheap, easy to make models that they don't have to require so much detail on. That's actually why they're Disneyfying it because they don't, if they cutify it in the Disney style format where it doesn't have as much details and it's easier polygons and such, they don't have to worry about rendering so many details to make it look more realistic, or at least stand up to the same standard as before. I would rather play a pixel based game where you could barely tell what the characters are than play half of the stuff that they have out now. Okay? That's probably also why you see me play a lot of indies, because even when the indie games are pixel based, they still look way better than half the crap we see out here now.
Yeah, I agree. This is why I really hate how the Sims 4 art style. Like I way more prefer the Sims 3 or 2. They were realistic and dark, and this 4 is too cartoony. The same paralives.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a cell shaded style because it works for Borderlands, okay? It works for the Telltale games. In some features, it actually works, but some things don't need to be dumbed down. Some things should stick to the same quality they had before or enhance the quality even better. They look like they're taking the cheap way out, and this the brand is taking a hit by that option.
Yeah, I also am kinda tired of those games like Genshin Impact. Like there's so many of them and I'm tired. Like you have Genshin Impact, ZZZ, the Honkai, the Enfile, something like that, and the Watering Waves. There's so many, and they all looks for me the same.
Yeah, I can't. If you give me a character from any of those games and tell me to pick out what game they came from, I'm honestly not going to be able to tell you. There's just so many characters, and they all look like they take the same style, same art style. So it's really hard to really discern the difference between them all. Maybe also because I don't play them as often. I think I've only one of those lists I've actually even played even once was Honkai, and I think I've only experienced like four characters there, and I didn't Honkai Genshin. I think I've only played Genshin, but I just didn't get into it. It just wasn't my style of a game. I'm more of a hack and slash player who likes exploring things on their own and not having to rely on an if then gotcha system to unlock characters. I'm used to unlocking characters by progression or by unlocking them from relationship statuses or something like that. Like if I make friends with someone, they join my team type of thing. That's the type of concept I'm used to. I'm not used to a concept where you have to pay just to get someone into it, and not even that. You have to pay for a chance for them to join you. You're not paying for a character themselves, which is actually the reason why I stopped playing Overwatch because I couldn't unlock certain outfits because I was putting all that money into the loot box system and not even getting the character I wanted, even after spending a lot of money on the loot boxes.
Yeah, I'm the same. And only game that I can recognize characters from all these gacha games are Nikki, Victoria, because fan service.
Hmm. But even with Nikkei, even with the fan service, they still had a decent gameplay system. I actually played that one, and it's you keep your focus more on trying to shoot everything than you are on their butts. Okay, um, if you take your eyes off of your target, you will get blown to pieces. They punish you for oogling too long.
Um, Maybe I need to try someday. But also one more thing about otome games. You know what I really don't like in otome most games is that my character is like very boring and all boys are too much cute unnatural toward her like for me too much sugary. Like, for example, someone told me, I think it was my ex, who told me, please play a London Mystery. It's a Otome game about detectives, and you love detectives. So I opened this game, and you know what was first case of this detective? Find
What?
Find the missing dog.
Okay, so they give you the softball quest to get you started.
Yeah,
Oh, you can't handle a murder mystery. So let's give you a simple, easy to do task, or have you as a low level worker who suddenly gets a strange promotion around a bunch of cute guys. Voltage, you were definitely guilty of that. Don't try to deny it. I played too many games if that's the case.
and the boys that dating you are, for example, Sherlock Holmes.
Ah, sure. Starts dating you in an Atome game. Okay, you're sure not talking about the Ace Attorney, right? Because that Sherlock Holmes, I would definitely go for it. Or should I say Sherlock Sholmes?
Yeah, I love him too. And Isa Tony, I really like it. The prequel one. I need to play the rest of those games.
I'm
Also,
still working my way through it.
yeah. Also, what do you think about the games that let you choose you want to play female or male?
Actually love those because you could design the character to look the way you want in most cases, or you could in your storyline will still be letting you interact with the world the way you want to. Fire Emblem Three Houses had that option. Fire Emblem Three Hopes had that option. Actually, a lot of the Fire Emblem games had that from the 3DS era. I loved how they did that. Mass Effect gives you that option. Dragon Age gives you that option. There's just a lot of games that I like it as an option. I just hate it when it's forced. So if you're going to force me to choose a female character or force me to choose a male character, I'll endure it, but I'm not going to like it. But if you give me an option to choose the character I want, I'll go for it. Even better. But yeah, anytime you give me an option to adjust the character the way I want it to be, that's automatically a win in my book. You don't. Most developers don't have to do that, but it actually gives the player a bit more control to make the game their own. And even if it's not based for a female audience or a male audience, the fact that they could actually make the character the style they want and the storylines they want will actually be a lot more inclusive than shoving those type of storylines into situations where people don't want to see those.
Yeah, and also, I don't understand why, but always when I'm playing RPGs like Mass Effect, Baldur's Gate 3, like those type of games, I prefer play as male, while live sim like The Sims or Stardew Valley, I prefer as female.
Mm-hmm. And I also like it where they have it set up where some characters that you interact with have a fixed um, gender specification or a fixed preference. So you can't force them to change their gender identity based off of that. You actually could play with that. I like it better when you actually have a little less control of the other characters, but more control over yourself. That makes the world a little bit more dynamic and lived in.
Yeah, but I really feel kinda cringe when you have creator of character and you feel and you read body type E or body type B.
Yeah, I don't think that they need to just go for that body type stuff because it's just ridiculous. If you're going to present yourself as a female, present yourself as a female. If you're going to present yourself as a male, present yourself as a male. If you want to mix attributes, do it on your own time, but just don't try to force it on everyone else to see. Come on. It's just that simple, really. The world will appreciate you for how you present yourself to the world. You don't need everything to kowtow to your preferences. The thing about society is people adjusting to the situation they're in and not forcing people to adjust to them. I guess maybe because I'm a kid of the 80s and 90s, our mindset is you do you, as long as it doesn't interfere with anything else that someone else has. You do you, I don't care. But lately, the trend seems to be where people are more focused on having people bow down to their demands instead of them adjusting to what's considered normal for everyone else.
I'm
And I think
just, I'm similar.
that's why the games. I think that's why a lot of games are in the trash right now because so many companies have tried to bend the to their will instead of actually going by what the majority of their paying audience already asked for or are already adjusted to based off of what the company has offered in the past.
Like I feel sorry, for example, for the Saint Row.
Which one?
Saint Row.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Although you might have to clean that a bit.
what do you think also when this game, when this female and male at once protagonists?
I think I totally missed that. I'm sorry.
I asked, what do you think when the game have male and female protagonists at once, like at the same time?
I think if it's done well, then it's a good thing. But if it's done for fan service or for a social network brownie points, then it's bad. Like I let's say let me think of a good example. Fire Emblem Warriors. It had dual protagonists. You could choose to play as either the female version or the male version. And those characters, what I liked about that one was if you chose the opposite, the other character didn't disappear. You still interacted with the other character. You still actually get to talk with that other character and interact with them and join them in missions. Often, when you choose a gender and swap gender male female, they don't let you see the other character anymore. So they're no longer an option to talk to. So that's what happened in Fire Emblem Three Hopes, where you only got to choose one version of Shez, either the male or the female, but you never got to see the other version. And that kind of killed a little dynamic it could have kept in there, but I guess they were trying to keep their character count low because of all of the extra characters. But I liked it better when I was still able to interact with my brother in that game side by side in battles.
Yeah, I agree. And also the Assassin's Creed Valhalla have worried think that you can play as male Odin, but on Earth, Eivor female.
Oh, 1 second. My headphone just died on me. Sorry. Be a second.
I mean,
Okay, I can hear you now. My other headphone just died because I've been on it too long.
yeah. I just wanted to say that Valhalla was worried because Odin and Eivor, like you can't be male Odin, but female Eivor on Earth.
Yep, and you still got to experience the story the same way, right?
Yeah, I'm really
That was
scared.
a key.
I'm really scared about Grand Theft Auto, the new one, 6, because I'm really scared that the female protagonist will do bad stuff to male protagonists as political, like the female power and all that.
You know what I actually want in more games that we don't see enough of? We don't see enough female villains. We don't see a female being a threat to a protagonist, male or female. I think it's because they don't want females to be seen in a negative light. But I think having more female villains be a challenge would actually be a new dynamic that a lot of companies could actually use, really.
I totally agree. I'm like really dreaming about female Sith character, like in Star Wars, because we have Jedi and like Han Solo, female, but I really want to see something female seed character.
Upset when it comes to Star Wars and females because my first time ever having an opportunity to play as Mara Jade in a video game was ruined because I had to have it as a DLC expansion for another video game in order to play her story. So, in order for me to play Mysteries of the Sith starring Mara Jade, I would have to get Dark Forces first in order to play that game. So they didn't believe in her having her own title. They only believed in her having as a expandable disc to an existing game.
That's stupid.
I know. And then she didn't appear ever again until the terrible game Star Wars Masters of Terrakazi, where she was a playable character in the fighting game. And I don't think she's been in a game ever since.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And then they killed her off in the books later on, and that really made me mad. And we still haven't seen her in the movies yet. Baloney! I'm waiting. When
Yeah,
is Heir to the Empire coming?
yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. You want to know a case where they're changing an established story and replacing it with females? It's Heir to the Empire. They're taking elements from a novel that came out in the late 80s where Luke Skywalker was fighting against a clone version of the Emperor, or a clone version of a Jedi, not the Emperor, and against Grand Admiral Thrawn. The Disney movies and TV shows are building up to the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn, and they're already introducing elements of Heirs to the Empire. But Luke is missing. There's no Luke Skywalker. There's no Princess Leia. There's no Lady Vader. There's no Mara Jade. There's no Terran Card. There's no. They even killed off Chewbacca at that point, I think. They destroyed. They're replacing everyone who was in the original story with all new females for a story that was the sole reason why the Star Wars franchise made it out of the 80s. Because there was a whole several decades where there was no Star Wars movies being made whatsoever. And the only way that franchise survived was off of novels, comic books, and video games. When Disney came over and took it all over, they wiped out all of those decades of stories and then they replaced them with new crap.
Yeah, and to be honest, when I tried as Disney fan to catch up with Star Wars canon, I was so confused. What is canon? What is legend? Like, they breaking up random characters from legends, and then they say it's canon, but then it's not canon, and it's so confusing.
And then they reintroduced canon. Like they actually brought Timothy Zahn, the creator of Grand Admiral Thrawn, back in that book, Heir to the Empire, and made him create the character all over again for Star Wars Rebels. So that's why we saw Grand Admiral Thrawn in Ahsoka, because they were taking his storyline from Rebels that Timothy Zahn had to reintroduce.
It's so confusing.
And we still don't have Mara Jade.
Yeah, and I heard that they don't want to anymore have like people at Lucasfilm.
I don't know what. I don't even want to consider Lucasfilm anymore. I think the only good thing that I could say came from Disney Star Wars was Rogue One. That's the only time I was actually enjoying a Disney production for Star Wars.
Yeah, and I heard that Endor is good too.
Couldn't get into Andor. I tried my best, but it was just way too much of a slow burn for me.
Yeah,
I guess because people want to see more of Cassian, but it's kind of hard to see Cassian after you saw him in Rogue One, seeing him become such a total jerk, and then seeing him before he's a jerk. It's kind of hard to see. They should have had us see Andor before Rogue One. Then that would have made more sense. Then people would have more sympathy for him.
yeah. By the way, about these female franchises, I really hate when there's suddenly movie female based that was male before, and then all male characters are either jerks or stupid, like really stupid. Good example, Ghostbusters.
Oh God. Oh no. And I am a diehard Ghostbusters fan, okay? I watched the cartoon, I watched the movies, I played the video games, I had the action figures, I drank the original Ecto Cooler, okay? I love Ghostbusters. But what they tried with the cast, I just couldn't follow it. It was just not fun for me. It was like a gross out Saturday Night Live sketch that should have just stayed a sketch. I just did not like it at all.
Me too. And I hated that in that movie you had male character either stupid blondie type or a jerk. Like he can even the pick up phone in that movie.
And ironically, think about what happened in the next Ghostbusters movie. In Ghostbusters Afterlife, they did have female characters, they did have child characters, yet they were more relatable than whatever that crap was with the female cast.
Yeah, and you know what worse? My friend, Mel, my one friend, told me that he preferred the female Ghostbusters because the characters are better written than the from 80s.
I don't know what they're thinking.
Can't imagine his screenwriter.
Maybe they were watching something else, and maybe they were mentally inclined while watching that or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Beyond that, even the Ghostbusters video game that you had to choose between being a male or a female when you played that game. If you think about that, that was another option where you could choose which Ghostbuster you were. I think that was, wasn't it? Remember, it's been a while since I played that one.
yeah, I agree.
So let's see. Okay. I thought it was that. Okay.
I
Let's try
think
to add on.
I think that we covered topic.
Yep, I think we did.
Thank you for coming to this video, and I hope someday see you again.
Well, I'm always around.
Bye.
Bye bye.